Hello everybody, and welcome back to the King Fox channel. My name is Matt Conacher, and I'm building the Kit Fox Model 7 STI. Today's video is going to be an update to my previous video number 16, which was estimates from Kit Fox. In that video, for those of you who are following this along and you're going to go the straight Kit Fox method and put a Rotax in or one of those other engines from there, my estimate that I personally put together was about $9,800, and I received an email from Heather on that just the other day, and she told me $12,375, so I was under again. I'm not good at estimating, but anyway, we'll leave that for another video. So I'd like to give a shout out to Got You Going, aka George, for telling me about the Viking engines. I commented on the video that I posted for estimates, and I hadn't even looked at a Viking engine, didn't know what it was. So thanks, George. Pretty much made me change my flow in the direction of my build, and I think it's going to be for the better, perhaps. So did I look at any other engines when I was getting ready to build? Yes. I looked at the Titan, I looked at Continental and Lycoming, your standard engines that you hear in certified airplanes. So the Viking engine was unknown to me, and was it because I didn't do enough research? Well, I think once I saw the Rotax and I said, man, that's 141 horsepower, it's turbocharged, it's light, I like it. And then I just stopped. I stopped doing research on engines because I think you can research things to death, and I just didn't keep researching. So again, George, thanks for tuning me into this, and I think it's going to be a game changer for my build moving forward. Originally I wanted like 150 horsepower turbine, but I couldn't find a turbine that's sub 200-300 horsepower, so I kind of scrapped that. And even if you did find a turbine, they're pretty proud of them, so they're pretty expensive. Just today though, I was on the Barnstormers website and I noticed Turb Aero on there, and I just kind of figured it was clickbait, but instead of clicking on it, I went to the website, and it's actually a website. I think it's Australian, and another gentleman was looking to put a 100 horsepower turbine in one of his airplanes, and he couldn't find it, so he invented one. He's building it. So you can go to the www.turb.aero and take a look at the engine, but that's about all that's there right now on the website. But I think that's going to be a game changer also for general aviation. It's a 200 horsepower turbine, and it's a little heavy. I think it's about 270 pounds, but it's going to become lighter and more horsepower or less horsepower. I would like to see them get into the sub 200s, honestly, because those turbines are bulletproof most of the time and they just work good. So after I got that comment from George on the channel there, I went to Viking's website and started reading. My mind was running about 100 miles an hour. I didn't know what I should ask, and because I was getting ready to pull the trigger and purchase engine, propeller, avionics from Kit Fox. I think actually that Friday, but obviously once I saw this and I thought about it a little more, I thought, well, let me research it. So I did just transfer the funds to Kit Fox for my avionics, and I got a confirmation email back from Deborah McBean stating that everything's on order and the transponder isn't supposed to ship until March. So I probably won't see most of my avionics until March of next year. So depending on how fast I build, I may be held up by the avionics, or the avionics are going to be held up by me, which is probably going to be the case. So I emailed Viking on a Friday, and then again that weekend I just dove into YouTube and started researching, reading, and finding out everything I could. Basically, it's a Honda engine, and Viking gets a hold of them, and they put a clutch type apparatus on the front. I think it's prop reduction speed, something like that, but it's some gears, and it fits to the front of the engine where the flywheel used to be, so, or a transmission. I'm not a mechanic, so whatever's spinning up front there is on there now. And they add their little touches to it and stick it into an airplane. So I kept doing my research, looking around, and then I wanted to see what are the negatives. So I started to get into the Kit Fox forum, and I see a lot of negative comments, people that talk about Jan. I don't know Jan, so my first impression is going to be all positive thoughts. He's doing something that I like, and I think he's doing a pretty good job at it. He's taking a risk, stepping out into the market, small business owner. He seems to be doing well. So somebody at some point had, I think Jan also used to do Subaru conversions. Anyway, some of those people don't sound like they're happy either for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But this gentleman had put one of the Viking engines in his airplane, and he was working with Jan to tweak it a couple times, and I think after the third time he said, all right, I'm done. And then he wanted his money back. Now, I don't know if that's a contract thing between Viking and the purchaser when you get your engine, but there was nothing wrong with the engine. It turned into a people problem, so those can happen all the time and anywhere and with any product. So again, I was looking for something wrong with the engine, but I don't see anything wrong with the engine, so I'm gonna put that as someone else's issue, and hopefully it won't be one of mine. So Monday rolled around, Tuesday rolled around, I didn't have a message back from Viking yet, so I was just about to send another email when I noticed at the top it said message to Alyssa, so I thought, let me send her a text. So I sent her a text, she responded within a minute, and then boom, I told her who I was and that I'd emailed her on Friday, and maybe it went to her junk bin, which is where it went. So she immediately responded to, answered all my questions in order, didn't skip anything, and then gave me some more videos to watch, some more things to go do some research on if I hadn't done that already. So I spent a few more days watching videos and studying, and basically I've come down to the point where I think this is going to be the engine for me. So why am I considering this type of engine? Well, number one is technology. So Honda started making engines back in 1948, so they've got 74 years of engine building experience, R&D, failures, and successes. They started with motorcycle engines, and then they quickly expanded to cars, and then boats, and now they're making a Honda jet. So you've got jet engines out there. So will we see some sort of internal combustion engine that could be for general aviation in the near future? I honestly hope so, because Honda's got the wherewithal and the know and all the R&D to make that happen relatively quickly, I think. Simplicity on this engine. So it's a car engine. It's got 4 cylinders, you got 4 spark plugs. Previous airplane I had a Lycoming engine in it, had a plug go bad one day. Well, I thought, let's just change them all, that way they're all reset at the same time, and I didn't know there were 8 on there. And not only are there 8 spark plugs, 2 per cylinder, but they're pretty expensive. So I think I paid $12 or $15 a spark plug, so that was a costly little change, not to mention the labor that then, I think it cost me close to $300 to change the plugs when I only had one bad one. So this will have 4 plugs, and they're car spark plugs, so I can go to Walmart and change it myself. I think that's a savings that I like. So that's something that I'm going to choose, and it's also helping me, it's steering this decision into looking at the Viking engine, possibly buying it. So we all the single engine folks you're always worried about where you're going to crash. As soon as you take off, is my engine going to go out? Where am I landing? So you're always looking for an expeditionary landing strip, so to speak. So if I am flying my airplane and I am in the middle of nowhere, which is pretty hard to be nowadays, but I'm going across country and I'm actually 30, 40 miles between airports and towns, and I have to make a landing because something's not working right or I feel a vibration. If I land the airplane, now who can help me service the thing? Well, the chance of there being a certified Rotex mechanic around is much less likely than finding a Honda mechanic within several miles of me. If I break down at the airport in Aberdeen, South Dakota, I have to put my airplane on the trailer, drive it 150 miles down to Brookings, South Dakota, which is where the nearest trained Rotex mechanic is, and have him look at it. Worst case scenario, I could put my airplane on a trailer and drive it a mile down the road to the Honda dealer and have them look at it. And I think they'd do it. I think they'd think that's probably pretty cool, and they'd work on my airplane. So, and if I needed a new Honda engine, maybe I could just get one from them. And the Rotex dealer isn't going to sell to me. I have to go through a third party. So that is, if you're going through another party, there's going to be a fee for their service. So there's some cost savings there. Third thing is price. Some of you may have think that price was the number one driving factor. No. We've all heard the colloquial phrase, the 3 Fs, if you're in the aviation department. If it flies, floats, or does something else with an F, it's cheaper to rent. This really isn't the case here. I was getting ready to buy a Rotax, and that's when I was enlightened about this other option that could be a viable alternative. So the price isn't the number one. I mean, life experiences, I think, has shown us that if you're going to go buy a $10 pair of tennis shoes and go do a marathon in them, you might have a backache later on. Whereas if you buy an expensive pair of tennis shoes, they probably will serve you well. So do you get what you pay for? Yeah. Now, was I paying $25,000 less for an engine? Yes. But it's an engine made by Honda. It's got all the technology in it. It's advanced, and I want the technology, so I'm looking for somebody who's got experience in that sector, and Honda's the person. So to me, that's a no-brainer. Is the engine cheaper? Yes. So the Rotax I just said was $40,695, $47. The Viking, I'm looking at the 150, so it's $15,500. So that's a $25,000 difference. Big deal. I could buy the Viking engine, propeller, and a Honda Civic, which starts out at $22,500, and have a new car and a motor in the airplane. So it's a big deal. I'm not going to go into the propeller costs yet, estimates from Viking, because I haven't got a quote yet. I'm going to stick with Kitfox's firewall forward estimate though at $12,375, because I'm pretty sure the firewall forward kit for the Viking is going to come in lower than that, and I would prefer to be surprised that way than my estimates were under what I previously calculated. I don't like that surprise. So I'm a firm believer that just because it goes in an airplane doesn't mean it needs to cost 4 times the amount of something regular. So if this good Honda engine works in my airplane, and it works just as good as a $40,000 engine, I'm happy about that. There's a lot of things in the aviation boating communities that cost way more than they should, but in essence you're getting the same thing that you're doing in your automobile. So I like that they're breaking the mold with that a little bit. Some people then might be contrary and say, well, it's a Honda engine and you just said you can get a new Civic for $22,500. Yeah, I can. So why is this engine $15,500? Well, Jan had to take a look at it, do some engineering, or pay someone to do this and build parts and pieces that take it from a car to something that's got a propeller on the front of it. And I think he's rewarded himself probably sufficiently, and he's not just saying, oh, I'm gonna just slap an extra $20,000 on all these engines and sell them to the people. So I think it's reasonably priced, and I'm happy about that. So down to the numbers, I'm at $52,391 thus far in the build. I just submitted my avionics, $37,904.28. I got the confirmation email from Mrs. McBean. So that's going to put me at $90,295. And if I get this engine for $15,500, and I'm assuming again, I don't know because I don't have a quote on this, but a $9,000 propeller, that's more expensive than any of the propellers on the Viking website. So I'm overestimating. That's going to put me at, well, and like I said, I'll stick with the firewall forward guesstimate from Kitfox at $12,375. That's going to bring a new total to $127,170.28, as opposed to the $157,040.75, which is pretty darn close to $30,000 of a difference. Now, what are some negatives that I can find about the Viking? So right off the bat, number one is the weight. It's listed at about 239 pounds. It's 150 horsepower, it has no turbo, but it's a Honda engine, so can I put a turbo on it? Probably. So yeah, it's 40 pounds heavier. I'm not happy about that, but I can probably cut some weight someplace. You guys have already seen my Pucka center console that Jeremy's relabeled for me. Actually, you probably haven't. That's going to be in the next video, so don't tell anybody I said that. Anyway, you'll see all about that here in the next video, probably. So yeah, the Rotax is about 196 pounds, 196 and a half. It's 141 horsepower. It's got a turbo on it. But it's got a TBO of $1,200 right now. That's probably going to change to $2,000, I'm assuming. I'm not going to go into all the pluses and minuses or the differences between the Viking engine and the Rotax engine, because I assume that a lot of you know them already, or if you don't, I'll do a video on that in the future. So I'd like to hear what you got to say about it. Thoughts and comments down below if you don't mind, or if you see something that I blatantly looked over, please let me know so I don't make a huge mistake. Anyway, again, comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.